that?
Oh, former President Barack Obama is going to be an instrumental part of the campaigns going forward for the Biden-Harris ticket. Back in 2016, that time frame was presidency, there was two camps in the Democratic Party. There was the Obama camp and the Hillary Clinton camp. Once Hillary lost to Donald Trump, the Obama political apparatus had taken over the entire Democratic Party and installed all his people in the highest positions and selected Joe Biden to run against Donald Trump in 2020.
And what about vice presidents? You mentioned Senator Harris. I think it's not been announced yet, has it?
No, it hasn't been announced, but
because I think it's between two women. If you can tell us a bit more about them, perhaps.
Yeah, there's a few on the so-called list to become vice president. I believe Valerie Demings. Some people say Susan Rice. Some people say Klobuchar just dropped out. Elizabeth Warren, but by all indications, the Barack Obama and the Biden people had selected Kamala Harris to run as VP as early as last year.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think they made that selection?
Well, they need this selection specifically to target four states in the four swing states, being Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and North Carolina. They need to bring out the African-American vote, and they need to bring out a little bit more of the female vote just to take over the slight edge that Trump had in the last election.
Mm-hmm. And she obviously is both, which makes a lot of sense. Can we speak a bit about the George Floyd murder? How do you think it's going to affect the campaign, Albert?
Well, it was a tragic event, and now the African-American community feels galvanized and energized. And, working in politics, you want to keep that momentum up for the next few months. So there's going to be more protests, hopefully not as violent, but, more protests, more discussions, more selections of African-American women specifically in the political power and the political spectrum.
So you think it's going to affect the campaign in a positive way, really? I mean,
course.
A very horrific, tragic event is going to affect politics in a more positive way.
Of course, it's gonna get out the African-American, the younger African-American voters out into the polls, and they should be going out there. They should be having their voices heard.
In general, what we hear from here, obviously, from Americans that we know, from the press, people are very disgruntled about the way COVID-19 has been managed in the United States. Can you shed some light on the Trump administration and how the management of COVID-19 is going to affect the campaign?
There's two trains of thought here. The response for coronavirus or COVID-19, now we're calling it now, it was awful. But in reality, every country was just gambling on what they could do and how to properly protect their citizens. Now, going forward, you're going to see a lot more COVID-19 news out of the U.S. media, specifically targeting states that they think are swing states coming up in the next election.
Mm-hmm. And to close, Albert, for today, just to summarize, really, going forward.
Well, going forward, I would say look for signals in the media, signals from the politicians on what legislation's coming out, what narratives in the news is coming out, and what they're trying to build in terms of momentum, whether it's the George Floyd issue, whether it's COVID-19 issue. You start looking at trends and what the media really wants to push for the next 2 to 3 months.
Thank you very much for your update today, Albert. Thank you, and I wish you a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was